Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today we are going to discuss issue of shares. What do you mean by shares? A share is a fractional part of the share capital and forms the basis of ownership interest in a company. So a share refers to the ownership in a company, ownership of a person in a company. Those persons who contribute money through shares are called shareholders. So, especially in case of companies, my ownership is termed as how many shares subscribed by me. So, shares refers to the a fractional part of share capital. You know what is share capital? Share capital is the whole amount contributed by its owners or its members to that company. The amount contributed by its members to the company is termed as share capital. So this share capital is divided into different fractional shares, different number of shares. So we can see it in coming slides. Categories of share capital. The same we already discussed in our previous class. Once again, I'm going to discuss the same. So categories of share capital. The first category is termed as authorized share capital. What do you mean by authorized share capital? Authorized share capital is the registered share capital of a company. So it is the registered or nominal share capital of the company. On the other hand, it is the maximum amount of capital can be raised by that company. So it is the maximum amount of share capital of the company. A company cannot raise fund more than its authorized share capital. So it is the maximum limit of their share capital. For example, a company having 10,000 shares of rupees 100 rupees per share, 10,000 shares of rupees 100 each, then it will be having total 10 lakh rupees. It will be having total 10 lakh rupees as its authorized share capital. So 10,000 shares, 10,000 number of shares of rupees 100 each. 10,000 shares of rupees 100 each. So 10 lakh rupees is the authorized share capital of the company. So this is the maximum amount of capital, rupees 10 lakh. This company cannot raise fund more than this 10 lakh. The maximum limit is 10 lakh. Their capital maximum limit is 10 lakh. They cannot issue shares to the public more than this rupees 10 lakh. Then the next case, issued capital. Issued capital is the part of authorized capital which is issued to the public. So we have seen here the company is having 10,000 shares, 10,000 number of shares of rupees 100 each. But this company will not issue the entire 10,000 number of shares to the public at a time. Instead, they will be issuing part of this 10,000. Then later they will be issuing the remaining part. So, say an example. Now this company is issuing 400 shares from this 10,000 to the public. So here now they are planning they need 4 lakh rupees fund. The company now need 4 lakh rupees fund. That's why they are issuing 4,000 shares from this 10,000 shares. So from this authorized capital of rupees 10 lakh or authorized shares of rupees 10,000, they are issuing 4,000 number of shares. So they will get how much? 4 lakh rupees, because each share is having rupees 100. So it is termed as issued capital. Issued capital refers to that part of authorized capital which is issued to the public. The next case, unissued capital. Unissued capital is the part of authorized capital which has not been issued to the public yet. So here 4,000 share is issued to the public. Then how many shares are there remains unissued? 600 shares. 600 into 100, 6 lakh rupees worth of shares are there unissued. So this is the two classifications of authorized share capital: issued capital and subscribed capital. And issued capital and unissued capital. Then these issued capitals are further classified into two: subscribed capital and unsubscribed capital. Subscribed capital refers to that part of issued capital which have been subscribed by the public. See, here we are issuing shares, 4,000 shares to the public. If all these 4,000 shares are subscribed by the public, our subscribed capital becomes how much? The same amount. I mean, now we are issuing 4,000 shares of rupees 100 each to the public. Then if the public accepted the whole 4,000 shares, our subscribed capital will be 4 lakh rupees. In that case, unsubscribed capital will be 0, because whole shares are subscribed by the public. If only 3,000 shares were subscribed by the public, then we'll get only 3 lakh rupees, and the remaining 1 lakh is termed as, or remaining 1,000 shares termed as unsubscribed capital. But in this example, there is no unsubscribed capital. Then this subscribed capital is further divided into two: called up capital and uncalled up capital. Called up capital refers to the amount called by the company on those shares. Here you can see that each share is having a value of rupees 100. One share is equal to rupees 100. But the company will not collect the entire 100 rupees per share. Instead, the company may demand the shares in installment, the price of the shares in installment. For example, here the company says, now we need 60 rupees per share, and the remaining 40 rupees can be paid later. So now the shareholders, the company is having subscriber shares of rupees 4,000, as we seen here. So out of these 4,000 shares, only 60 rupees is needed. Remaining 40 rupees you can pay later. Company says to the shareholders that now you pay rupees 60 on your shares, and the remaining 40 rupees you may pay later. So now the company demands 60 rupees per share. So the total called up capital will become as 4,000 into 60 rupees, 2,40,000. Then there is a uncalled area, because the company called only 60. So there is an uncalled of rupees 40. So 40 into 4,000, 1,60,000 rupees remain as uncalled up capital. So called up capital refers to that part of subscribed capital which have been subscribed by the public, and the company called on those shares, or the company demanded the payment on those shares. And uncalled up share capital refers to part of subscribed capital which has not been called by the company yet. And this called up capital is further divided into two: paid up capital and calls in arrears. Now the company is demanding 60 rupees on this 4,000 shares. These 4,000 shares may be subscribed by different pupils. I mean, one shareholder can hold maybe one share or 100 shares or 1,000 shares. So these 4,000 shares are held by different shareholders. So some of may fail to pay the amount on those share, or some of may pay on time. So in this example, only the shareholders of shares of 3,000 paid only the full amount. Actually, there are 4,000 shareholders who have to pay 60 on the shares. Unfortunately, only 3,000 shareholders, or the only we got only 3,000 shares payment. We got 60 rupees on 3,000 shares instead of 40. So, which means here 1,000 shares failed to make the payment. 1,000 shareholders or 1,000 shares failed to make the payment. We didn't get the payment on the 1,000 shares is termed as calls in arrears. So paid up capital refers to that part of called up capital which have been paid by the public. But here then there is a part of on 1,000 shares they haven't paid anything. We didn't get anything. I mean the company didn't get anything. So it is termed as calls in arrears. Then this uncalled up capital also classified into two: unreserved capital and reserved capital. First, let's discuss what is reserved capital. Reserved capital is the portion of uncalled capital which is reserved for the winding up of the company. So some part of the share capital will not called until the company is getting into liquidation or winding up. So for example, out of these 40 rupees uncalled, a company made a reserve of rupees 10 per share, which means 40,000 rupees of shares will be reserved for the winding up of the company, and the remaining part termed as unreserved. So company will not call this rupees 10 until the company reaches liquidation or winding up, and this unreserved capital may call in the next installments. So these are the categories of share capital. I hope you understand this case. And the next case, issue of shares. The shares can be issued in three forms. The first one is private placement, and the second one is right issue of shares, then public issue. So in these three forms, a company can issue its shares to the holders. So the public issue can be in IPO or initial public offer or oversell. Let's discuss in detail. First one, private placement of shares. It is the issue of shares of a company directly to one investor or a small group of investors. So in case of private placement of shares, the company will not issue to the entire public. They will not make their share available for the entire public. Instead, they will approach a single person or single rich person or as some small group of persons, say 50 members, maximum is 50 members, to subscribe their shares. And the company approach those small group or a single person and tell them that we are planning to issue this much shares of our company. Would you like to buy our shares? So if that person is planning to buy the shares, he can buy it. So that's the case of private placement of shares. So there are some features of private placement. Only maximum 50 members. We have seen that company directly to one investor or a small group of investors. That group maximum can contain 50 members, and there is no prospectus. Prospectus refers the invitation letter of these shares, this company. So there is no prospectus required. There is no complex procedures, and the cost of issuing shares is minimum. The company may incur different cost of issuing these shares, but in this private placement there is the cost of shares issuing is very minimum, and there are two conditions to issue these shares in private placement of shares. First one, pass a special resolution in their general meeting. They have to pass a special resolution in their company general meeting, and shares should not be sold for 3 years. All those shares issued in private placement mode should not be sold for the next 3 years is a condition. And the next mode of issue is right issue. It is the issue of shares to the existing shareholders in proportion to their existing shareholding. So here, if the company is issuing shares, they can approach its existing shareholders. If they want to buy, they can buy it. So this is the way of right issue. Issuing shares to the existing shareholders is termed as right issue. So it is one of the most cheapest way of raising finance, and there is no prospectus needed, and there is no such kind of restrictions and conditions and so on. And the next is public issue, which is the most important one for us. We have to deal more with this public issue, which means selling shares to the public by issuing prospectus. Public can be in the form of, or the public issue can be in two form: initial public offer or offer for sale. So in this public issue, the company selling the shares to the general public is termed as public issue, and it can be in two forms: IPO. IPO refers to selling shares or stock to the general public for the first time. Whenever a public company sell shares to general public for the first time is termed as IPO. For then so from this public issue itself, we can say that this public issue can be done only by public companies. The next is offer for sale. Instead of selling shares directly to the public by a company itself, it's offered through the intermediaries such as issue houses, merchant banks, stockbrokers, etc. So it is known as offer for sale. So here the company won't sell their shares directly to the public. Instead, there will be some intermediaries. So these are the three cases of issuing shares. Private placement of shares, which refers to issuing shares to the private parties. Then the second one is right issue. Right issue refers to the issuing shares to the existing shareholders. Then public issue refers to issuing shares to the general public. Then forms of issue. Shares can be issued in two forms. First one, fixed price offer method. Here, the company fixes the issue price and advertises the amount of shares to be issued. Suppose in the previous example, we have seen that one share is equal to rupees 100 and they are issuing the shares. So the price of the shares is fixed, then it is termed as fixed price offer method. Under fixed price offer method, the price of the share is fixed. Then the second method is book building method. Under this method, company will not fix the price of shares in advance. So in this method, they will not fix the price of the shares. They will not disclose exact price of the shares. Instead, they will fix a minimum and maximum price range, and the final price is determined by on the basis of the demand on those shares. So here they will say that our shares minimum price is rupees 100 and the maximum value is rupees 200. So everyone who wish to subscribe the shares can quote their price. Everybody can quote their price in between 100 and 200. And if more demand is there for a particular price, suppose 150, more people are demanding rupees 150 or more people are willing to buy their shares at 150, they will fix the price at 150. So a book building method is a kind of issuing shares without fixing the price of shares in advance. Instead, they will fix the price based on the demand. So this is the two forms of issue, fixed price method and book building method. Then procedure for issuing new shares in case of a public company. We are all saying this is in as in the view of public company. So public company having this much procedures to issue new shares to the public. First one, selection of merchant banker. They have to select a merchant banker. I mean, every financial transaction should be channelized through a banker. So they have to select a banker, any bank, suppose HDFC or ICICI or SBI, whatever the company can choose it. Then the second case is issue prospectus. Prospectus refers to invitation letter to the shareholders. This prospectus containing all the information regarding the quantity of issuing, the price of issuing, the details of this company, everything. Everything will be highlighted in that prospectus. Then the third one, application for shares. Accepting application for the shares. So first the company will accept the application for the shares. If an application is to be valid, it has to secure a minimum subscription of 90% of issue. Then after application, they will allot the shares to the shareholders, and for finally the company will be issuing share certificate to the shareholders. These are the procedures of issuing new shares. Then the shares can be paid in two ways. First one is paid in lump sum. Paid in lump sum refers to paying the entire amount at once. It is termed as pay in lump sum. And the second method is shares payable by installment. We can pay the amount of shares which we subscribed in installment. So in that case, different installments are in the form of the first installment is termed as application money. Application money is the first installment if the shares are issued on installments. As per SEBI guidelines, the minimum application money to be paid shall not be less than 25% of issue price. So suppose a company is issuing shares of rupees 100, company is issuing shares of rupees 100, the application money should not be less than 25, I mean 25%. So say the application money is 25. So first the shareholder has to pay 25 on single share, and the second installment is termed as allotment money. Just for instance, let's take it as 30. So this is the second installment, 30. Now the company called 55 rupees, right? There are remaining 45 rupees, and this 45 rupees in the form of calls, can be multiple calls, first call, second call, final call, etc. So this is the two different installments of shares: application money, allotment money, call money. This is the case. So let's summarize what are the things which we haven't discussed today. The first one was share capital. It is the fractions of share capital, which denotes the ownership of the shareholders on this company, and the categories of share capital starting from the authorized share capital to is the reserved share capital, and the different forms of issue, then procedure for issuing new shares, and shares payable by in installments such as application money, allotment money, and call money. So we'll discuss the remaining thing next class. Thank you.